Have you seen Prometheus and Alien Covenant?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
On the
Okay,
tent.
okay.
Blood.
Jesus, mother. Ah!
Oh!
There could still be friendlies alive.
I didn't even hear him that time.
What up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to the next video in my Is It Worth It series, where I review various games that I've played to determine whether or not I think it's worth paying for. Recently, I have been enjoying Alien Firestrike. I am typically not a big fan of like games that scare you. I have a really hard time with Doom or Dead Space or any of these types of games. I just don't typically like them. And I have to say, if I played this
Here she
game by
comes.
myself,
Turn around
I
and look up.
probably would enjoy it a lot less, but I have been playing a little bit of the multiplayer,
Big
and it's a
Bravo.
hell of a lot more enjoyable when there are other people with you. So we're going to dive in and talk about this today. If this is the first time tuning into my channel, welcome aboard. If you don't know who I am, that's cool. There's lots of stuff here on YouTube. I do game reviews, I play games, I talk about books, I talk about shows, I talk about all sorts of nerd culture stuff. I have a cooking show, although I haven't done an episode in a while. We have a Discord. I'm a game developer. I'm working right now on a 5th edition tabletop setting as well as a point and click game, and I'm a writer. You can find all the good stuff in the links below over at our Patreon page and join our Discord if you want to come hang out with our gaming community. I'm currently playing Lotro. Who knows what we're playing by the time you watch this, though, if it's 6 months down the road. In any case, let's dive in to this game. So, yeah, I like I said, typically probably wouldn't play this game by
That's
myself,
okay.
but I was convinced to play it by Gila, one of our community members, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I played it. I played the first mission by myself, and I was kind of like, all right, this is, there's a lot that I'm familiar with in terms of a first-person shooter. You've got your various archetypes that you can choose from. You've got your various weapons that you can equip. So there's a Call of Duty vibe going on there. You can add attachments to the weapons. I'm familiar with that from Call of Duty. Um, you can have perks based on leveling up your archetype class. All of that kind of is traditional RPG sort of shooter type leveling up systems. So all that stuff I'm familiar with, but I think for me, what makes this game stand out is the fact that it's an alien game. It because there are some scary elements here, like the very clip I showed at the very beginning. I have jumped out of my skin multiple times in this game. It usually happens once every 15, 20 minutes because each time you go through a level, it's different each time. So these bastards will jump out of you from places where they previously didn't jump out at you from, and that can be a little disconcerting and a little terrifying. Um, and so, I'm familiar with the FPS elements. I'm familiar with the sort of horror elements that are going on here. But I think what makes this game really fun for me is um, the franchise aspects of it. So if you are a fan of the Alien franchise and the Alien universe and lore and everything else, I think that that's where this game really shines more than anything else because you're going to get a lot of that lore and backstory about the various corporations, what they're doing with the xenomorphs. The storyline, I'm only a few missions in at this point, the time of this review. I think we've done two full campaign. Well, do they call them campaigns or missions? I forget. But it's like 6 missions, so I think they're 2 campaigns. There's like 3 missions per or story, whatever they're called. I'm like 6 in at this point, and the story has been pretty entertaining, and it's fairly linear as you go through. And when I first started off, I was like, okay, this is kind of standard, but I've gotten sucked in now with the lore, and I've gotten a little bit more in, kind of dug in each time we go do a mission. Um, there is an element to this where I think the aesthetically, this is built in Unreal Engine 4, and the game design, level design is exceptionally beautiful. I thought at the beginning there's some clunkiness to the character controls. Like the changing of weapons is like instantaneous and it looks really weird. So there's some weirdness with the animations. I'm not a huge fan of like the character models and the character movement. But I will say that the level design is absolutely breathtaking, especially the second round of stories we were doing where you're on this planet. It's got that Prometheus vibe where you've got the alien excuse me, you've got the founder statues everywhere, and you're on this planet, and it's stuff that's been built by someone centuries before you, and your group arrived. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on here visually. And as in terms of gameplay, there's some standard shooter elements. I think what makes this stand out from other shooters is that you have the randomness of if you do a mission multiple times, you're going to get different scenarios in between the major points. Major points being like you got to turn this lever, and during the next 5 minutes, you have to defend this position. That's sort of a set thing that's going to happen. But outside of that, as you're roaming through the tunnels and going through the level, there's things that are jumping out at you, and that's all sort of random. So you do this with. It's meant to be played multiplayer, but you can play it by yourself, and you are given
Feel free to fall back.
AI
They'll be slowed
helpers.
by the medical.
You can obviously adjust the difficulty. If you're playing this by yourself, I would highly recommend that drop that difficulty down to casual, because your AI components are little more than just DPS. I mean, they're just going to stand there and shoot at things. So it makes it very challenging if you're needing to do flanking maneuvers or strategic moving around for combat scenarios. That's really not going to happen if you're doing this in single player mode with the AI. I have played a couple of missions with the AI on casual, like the lowest difficulty setting. It's totally doable. You just have to take your time because you are the strategy. So it's basically pulling mobs back so that your two counterparts can help you defend against those mobs. Otherwise, on standard difficulty, which is the highest I've run, running around and doing the different missions, it's I wouldn't call it overly challenging. It's definitely got threat levels. You'll definitely need to heal yourself from time to time, and I wouldn't want to play it on standard if I was running with AI companions, because you want that flanking and being able to be in voice chat and call out commands and, hey, I'm going to guard this, hey, I'm going to throw this, I'm going to drop this turret over here.
He's kind of
Um,
weird. The
so
more
yeah,
damage
all
I
of these
do,
are good
like,
things. I think at the end of the day, looking at how I would rate this game, again, I'm typically not a fan of horror-based games, but I do like shooters. I'm not a die-hard shooter fan. I prefer my RPGs and fantasy-based games, but I do enjoy the occasional shooter. I've played my Call of Duty, and I like Destiny and some other stuff. Um, this is a fun game. When I first played it, I was thinking I might give it like a 6 out of 10, but after I've played it more now and I've played it with other people, I'm leaning towards like a 7.5 or 8 on the fun factor. Is it worth it factor to me? Again, it's the movement's a little clunky. The character controls and just you the way you shoot and everything else, it's not my favorite. It's definitely smoother in like Call of Duty or other games or Destiny. But if you can get past sort of like the somewhat clunkiness of the controls, the visual design of the zones, the fact that you've got alien xenomorphs jumping out at you and trying to eat your face off, um, all of that combines together to make an experience that for me so far has been really, really rewarding. Now, I can't speak to what happens after you hit max level. I know with Anthem in particular, looking back to that game because it played very similarly to this, once you got to max level and you'd gone through all the storylines, it was just repeat, rinse and repeat, and get points to get better armor, but there was no more storyline. And I need story for me to continue playing a game. So I don't know how the story plays out. I don't know what kind of playability there is after you beat the story, but I can say that sort of my ongoing review of this game so far, 7.58 out of 10. I think it's worth it. I really do. Especially if you can get it on discount or whatever. I've got it through Xbox Game Pass, so for me, it's part of my subscription. Totally worth it. I've got it installed right now. I'm looking forward to getting back in and doing another session. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Love to know your thoughts. Drop them down below. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get all the updates that I do in the future. Don't forget to like this video. And if you want to support the channel, you could join as a member, or you can head over to our Patreon page where my wife and my brother and I are building the fantastical world of the Weave and the Void. Don't forget you can join our Discord. All the links are down there for everybody. See you in the next episode.